Welcome to the party. I'm Sam Ekstrom of Locked On Sports Minnesota. It's not too early for draft prospect of the day. That's right, coming at you today, only 4 months before the draft. Yes!
I'm Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings, and I care about running backs.
What's going on? Luke Inman on X, at Luke_Spinman. Sam's right, 91 days until the NFL draft, so we should probably talk about it on today's show.
Ooh, 3 months, not 4 months.
Locked On Sports Minnesota podcasts. It's endless Minnesota Vikings talk with the diverse voices of your local experts. It's time for the Minnesota Football Party. It's your guys hanging out talking next-level Vikings football. So join in with Arif Hassan, Locked On Vikings Luke Braun, Superior Sports Talk's Luke Inman, and Vikings insider Sam Ekstrom, plus the biggest names in Minnesota football for the Minnesota Football Party. And it starts now.
Welcome into the Minnesota Football Party on Locked On Sports Minnesota. It's your favorite podcasters talking Minnesota Vikings football for the next hour on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making us your first watch or listen today. For your second one, check out Luke Braun on Locked On Vikings and find our audio on the Locked On Vikings podcast feed. Sam Darnold's tag and trade potential we discussed today. Plus, we start our free agency series with running backs. Who will we nominate to be a future Vikings running back? And Luke Inman, our draft guru, will kick off Inman's prospect of the day. It's happening, folks. He's already got the paper chain going. 91 days to the draft. And a critical day for our playoff parlays. Nobody has won as of yet. And somebody has to win this week because it is our last week before the Super Bowl and the contest ends. Today's show is brought to you by Prize Picks, which is the best way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL. Use code, all lowercase, LockedOnNFL to win $50 instantly when you play $5. All right, guys, we are Arifless today, which is a sad day. We never want to be Arifless. We got the two Lukes. We got myself. We got Ron Johnson as well, joining a little later. It's a packed show. Before we get into the off-season, I mean, this is an off-season talk or two, but before we get into free agency and draft, let's revisit the Sam Darnold tag and trade discussion. Everybody on this show has gone on record assuming that Sam Darnold will not be back. That's not a guarantee. I mean, there are enough people out there that think he is going to be back. It's a bit of a dice roll at this point. But let's talk tag and trade. I looked up some recent tag and trades in the NFL. Most of them are disgruntled edge rushers. Most of them, I don't think, are situations where the team planned on it all offseason. They probably hoped, let's extend this guy. He's unhappy, but let's try to make it work. Then the clock starts ticking. They never come to an extension. In desperation, they make a trade. That's what happened in a number of cases. Yannick Ngakoue, great example when he got traded to Minnesota during the preseason. Jadeveon Clowney. So the point is,
Cam Robinson on the tag this year?
I mean, mid-season, possibly mid-season kind of deal. Again,
it's like situations where things changed.
Variables, right? Like not ideal situations. The point is, there's not a lot of precedent for a quarterback of this age coming off the season he had, especially when there might be like mutual agreement between the player and the team that it will be a tag and trade situation going in. Like, I don't know if that's ever happened.
Yeah, has it ever happened? I'm thinking back to like Carson Palmer getting traded for 2 first-round picks. I don't think that was a tag and trade situation though.
So Inman, what do you make of, like, what is the potential? What is the best case outcome for the Vikings in this tag and trade scenario?
Well, first of all, it's funny to just think back to like when these conversations and ideas first started to even pop up and come to fruition, right? Like he really started to heat up this conversation of maybe there's some value if they want to move on after the year. November-ish, like he kept winning all those games after the bye. the Falcons game explosion. What do you have? 5 touchdowns. The Seattle fourth quarter comeback drive. That's when we came on the show that next Monday, and like things exploded on a national level. Like flipping on ESPN, NFL Network, everybody's talking about how good Sam Darnold was. And if the season ended after that Packer game, I mean, I think you would have been able to come close to a first-round pick. I think that's where the conversation started, especially just given the supply and demand with how many teams need a quarterback and how weak the draft class is. But obviously, like we've talked about other players, a lot can change. A lot did change with those last 2 games, Detroit and LA. And now it's like, this is just my gut feeling here sitting on January 23rd. But now at this point, the hope is if you tag and trade him, now your market feels like a third-rounder, late second at the very best. Like that's the dream.
I still think you're high.
Yeah, that's the dream. Maybe somebody overpays and is willing to cough up their second just so they don't have to get in a bidding war and get them all for themselves. But again, knowing we've got a weak class of quarterback prospects, especially when you compare it to last year, maybe that helps the case a little bit. But I think, unfortunately, and I think Luke and I are going to be on the same page here, something like a 4th and a 6th, for example, that feels like how much stock, how much has dropped from his stock, I guess, just after those last 2 games. Maybe the shock factor, though, wears off. Maybe those last 2 games, it's obviously still fresh in everybody's mind. Maybe the more time that goes on, as we get closer to the free agency period, was that March 5th, I want to say, maybe people start to think about his body of work and what, he did, winning 14 games at the end of the day. That's worth something. That's a lot for a quarterback on his resume. So dream scenario, late second, early third, somewhere like that. I would be pumped. I would be ecstatic. Realistic scenario, 2 later picks, like a 4th and a 2026 5th or something like that, which is still better than nothing. I mean, given the lack of picks we already have, I'm sure Kwesi in the front office would be pumped to stockpile anything and everything they can get. But that's just my gut here sitting today on January 23rd.
Yeah, Cameron Rolfe makes a good point. Like if it's a 4th and a 6th, then I'd let him walk for a comp. I don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Worth it. But I also think, Braun, that you're underselling what he'd be worth. I mean, I think that there are challenges, but if you look at what other teams have gotten in tags and trades, like Frank Clark going for a 1st, a 2nd, and a 3rd swap, this is a quarterback we're talking about, a quarterback who played really well for most of last season. You don't think that he's worth more than a 4th and a 6th?
Yeah, because I think as a quarterback, he's then making quarterback money on the tag. This is a $40 million price tag that's shipping over to the other team, and they're not going to give you a lot of money if he's just a 1-year thing. So this has to be a team that wants him long term.
Right.
And that team needs to now negotiate a contract with less freedom than they had before. All of those things are going to make them a little less excited about it. If they're a little less excited about it, they're going to be willing to give you a little bit less draft capital for it versus, okay, well, I'm not giving you a second. How about I just take Cam Ward and keep my pick? Becomes that much more attractive the more annoying this thing is. Not to mention you have to work all this stuff out with Sam Darnold and his agent. And here's the secret: you're not doing that. You're doing that like at the combine right before the tag deadline, right? Because the Vikings are going to want to know who's going to play ball and what kind of market they have out there. So everybody's going to have to be willing to talk about it before you're maybe necessarily supposed to, but that's how it goes. And that's also difficult to imagine. I do think that letting him walk for a comp pick is the much safer option. What if everybody goes, what do you mean trade? What? Yeah, I'll give you a 7th. Like, what if you get way less than you think, and now you're just stuck with Sam Darnold on a $41 million contract, and you got like 6 defensive backs you got to go sign?
Yeah, you got to have 2-3 options already before you make that decision. Like, okay, I feel pretty confident. Even if 1 or 2 people pull the rug out underneath me, I still got a market out here, and I can get, again, a 3rd-round pick, something like that. What is the what's the franchise take price for a quarterback? 38, 40-ish?
41.
If the cap goes up,
41.
41.
Yeah.
That's a big number, man. That just makes things. In all
Vikings
quarter, I mean, that's just the going rate
55
for like
in effective cap space per over the cap right now. You're burning everything until you can get rid of him.
Yeah.
And you got to know if you can get rid of him, and to do that, you kind of need his agent to like play ball.
I think that those under the table conversations certainly could happen, but the problem is teams know that you are desperate to free that money up by free agency. You've got like a week. The franchise tag deadline, granted that could be assigned to him before the deadline. The deadline's March 5th. Free agency is a week later. So you've got a week from the franchise tag deadline to the start of free agency where you would want that deal completed. Teams know that. Teams may not be willing to give it anything up unless there's a bidding war, right? Unless there's a bidding war. Now, I've identified teams that I think are candidates. The Raiders are by far the best. They're second in cap space, obviously need a quarterback. The Steelers...
Oh, there's another problem here. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
Let's hear it.
Well, his contract voids on February 17th. That's before any of these conversations get to happen. And is the tag window even open by then?
When I don't know when the tag window opens. I just know when it closes. But that's seems like an interesting wrinkle. But I feel like would his contract be that unique than any other contract that could be taggable?
Well, with void years, the other contracts void out on like March something.
Okay.
So this is an early one. And I think they did Kirk Cousins the same way.
I mean, it's only advantageous if the Vikings wanted to go the franchise tag path. It's advantageous for them to declare that as soon as possible, though, right? So that could be negotiated.
Yes. To your point,
February
yes,
18th,
it is.
It opens. So his contract voids a day before you can franchise tag him. This is actually impossible.
Yeah, the downside is here, Sam, is that all of a sudden the 5.5 weeks you had to have conversations and really dip your toes and test that market and see how many teams are not only interested, but what they're willing to give up. Now that just got shrunk by half, and that seems like a big hill to climb as well. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it just got a little stickier for sure.
Braun, can you, again, dilute what you just said? Are you saying that you don't think the tag is possible? Or what are you saying?
I'm saying,
You're saying that he can't be franchise tagged.
He cannot be franchise tagged before February 18th. The window is not open. His contract will void on February 17th, so he will become a free agent before you can place the franchise tag on him. I'm pretty sure.
And nobody has presented this information until Luke Braun this moment.
Yeah, who would look this up?
Wow. I
could be wrong.
I'm just surprised by this little
Me too. Yeah, I just looked this up now. But I'm pretty sure that's how it works. I think somebody who asked me a question about how that works with like void years, like contracts voiding and franchise tags. And it turns out that if your contract voids before you can franchise tag, you can't be tagged.
This is very interesting. Well,
I could be super wrong there. Don't take me to the bank.
Let's assume Luke Braun's wrong. Let's assume Luke Braun's wrong, just so we
can continue. Yes,
so we can continue. I think these are the teams that need a quarterback. The Jets, not a destination, too much baggage. The Browns can't afford it. The Titans are probably going to draft. The Seahawks are a sneaky team. Geno's in the final year of his deal. They're in major cap debt. So I think there's 4 left. I think you got the Raiders, the Steelers, the Colts and that's a question mark with Anthony Richardson. I don't know where they fall on him. And then you got the Giants. Raiders with a bullet, by far the most logical target with all their cap space. And they've got an extra 3rd round pick from the Devontae Adams deal. I mean, that seems like that's a pretty cut and dried offer to say, all right, Darnold, for the Devontae pick, we get a 3rd. You still have a ton of cap space. You can negotiate long-term. Darnold gets to go to Vegas. Not a terrible destination to fall. New coach coming in. That makes sense so much more than any other destination. But now I'm throwing for a loop because I don't know if Luke Braun's correct. I just don't know. Okay.
How about the roller coaster? I have an article from John Sigler at Yahoo Sports about the Saints doing similar things, and saying putting the void trigger date before the franchise tag window keeps the franchise tag in play. There's no citation for that, so I'm just trusting this person. But
Got it.
They're writing about the Saints cap, then good luck.
We better Play the breaking news sounder.
We're back. We're so back.
The Vikings can franchise tag Sam Darnold. We lost the dream for a minute. Man, if they didn't get more than a fourth and a sixth, I mean, a third to me is the minimum where you even entertain it. There's going to be back channeling, but like, D Ford for a second, these are decently high priced edge rushers who might have like locker room issues. Ngakoue, Clowney, they got a lot of value for these guys. I know this is a quarterback, but if a team is willing to tag and trade, I think they view Darnold as probably a multi-year option. I don't think
that's the thing too. Like I feel like if you're tagging and trading for him, I mean, forget about the 38 to 40 mil. That's only temporary. Doesn't it feel like that? Because you got to already have some sort of long-term, 3, 4, 5 year type of deal on the table already before that anyways, which Darnold would want as well, just to have that, security behind him for the first time in his career. So maybe that 40, whatever it is, 38, 41 mil is kind of a moot point because of the eventual restructure, extension, whatever you want to call it, coming after they make the trade anyways. But nonetheless, I mean, quarterback, that's just the going rate for good quarterbacks now, man. I remember wasn't that long ago, like 30 mil was a lot of money for a, high-end quarterback. And now, they're all Derek Carr makes what, 28, 32 mil, something like that. And that's Derek Carr. Like that's just the going rate of good quarterbacks now.
I'm looking at the
it's tough for a team that wants to pay, let's say a team wants to pay him 35 mil to go trade him a year that's more than the average value you wanted to pay him. It's like, oh, now I have to do like stuff. I have to like do signing bonus things. I have to like start immediately. I have a problem to solve with this contract. Also, PHT NVL brings up an interesting point in the chat that we did change the void date on Kirk Cousins' contract last offseason to give more time. So you can just move that if it doesn't work for the franchise tag.
I'm looking at the Mayfield deal. Mayfield had a $6.9 million cap hit the first year of that deal. 3 years, $100 million. Like that's what a team.
Oh, they're all
do.
like that.
Yeah. That's what
Justin Jefferson's was
team,
8 this year.
Void years are magic.
So does that open your options, your list of teams up even more? I know you picked Raiders number 1 with a bullet because of the cap space and the extra picks they have. By the way, they have 3 6th-round picks as well. So they got plenty of draft capital and ammo, but just knowing that, does that maybe open up the list of options as well? Again, pretty weak class. I'm not saying guys aren't going to go in the 2nd and 3rd round like they do every year, but it's not a star-studded 5 first-round quarterbacks this year kind of class either. So supply and demand situation going on as well. Any other teams maybe now that you think about, maybe versus on the cap, it's going to be less than $10 million for Sam Darnold that first year.
Well, I mean, so the Browns, Seahawks, and Saints, you could all argue could use a refresher at quarterback, but they're all $30 million or more in cap debt. Like I think toast. That's unless Seattle.
The Browns have already it's already reported that the Browns aren't moving on, right?
Watson's injury would affect
true.
pretty significantly.
And they might get actually cap space back if he doesn't play in 2025. That they wouldn't actually see until a year or two down the road, but it's still like something they could rely on. Yeah,
they need
because they have that insurance thing.
Yeah.
Our free agency series kicks off today with running backs the Vikings should consider in March. That's next on the Minnesota Football Party. Brought to you today by Talkspace. Therapy is extremely important. I've done it. It's really valuable. It's a total game changer because it can manage your stress, improve your sleep, your restfulness, and I think extremely importantly, communication, whether it's with friends, coworkers, me trying to communicate with Luke Braun and Luke Inman and Arif Hassan. It can be contentious sometimes. Therapy can help with that.
Game time.
Great timing. Finding the right therapist and fitting sessions into a busy schedule can be a challenge. That's where Talkspace comes in. They're the leading virtual therapy provider, and they make getting you help easy, accessible, and affordable. Signing up is simple. Match with a licensed therapist who fits your needs, usually within 48 hours. It's convenient. You can have sessions from the comfort of your home. and message your therapist between appointments. Talkspace is covered by many insurance plans, and for most insured members, there's a $0 copay. Never been easier to prioritize mental health. As a listener of this show, you'll get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com/LockedOnNFL. Enter promo code SPACE80 to match with a licensed therapist today. Go to Talkspace.com/LockedOnNFL. Enter promo code SPACE80 to get $80 off your first month and show your support for the show. Talkspace.com/LockedOnNFL. Promo code SPACE80. And again, check out the Minnesota Football Party on the Locked On Vikings audio feed. Catch us on Mondays and Thursdays, and then the special show with our Care 11 talent on Wednesdays. Ron Johnson should join shortly, but we're going to get started with our running back preview in free agency. I've asked us all to nominate somebody. I put a lot of time into this, and a lot of it comes down to, are they going to draft somebody? When can they draft somebody? 3rd round, 5th round? What can Kwesi find running back wise in the draft? Has Kwesi tried yet? Has he even taken a stab at a draft running back? I don't think he has.
Dwayne McBride, baby. I think that's it.
7th round, didn't work out.
Well, it's Chandler, right?
Chandler was pre.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yep. Wait, was that was 2021, right?
Or was it 22?
No, that was 2022.
Okay.
It was 22?
Jalen Naylor. Yeah.
So I guess that'd be
right.
Kind of be 0 for 2 a little bit. So Braun,
6th round pick that turns into RB2 for a few years feels good.
Take that.
We'll bring Ron in, and he can listen to our suggestions and then react. Ron Johnson, host of the Ron Johnson Show, at 3Ron Johnson. Ron, we were just going to go around the circle and nominate a free agent running back that we would like the Vikings to consider. Then you can react to our nominees. So,
okay.
All right, Luke Braun, give us your guy.
I'm going to take the easy answer, and let's bring back Aaron Jones. Not only does he have voids on his contract, so the money spreads out if you want it to, or you can not put it all in signing bonus, not do that if you don't want to kick the can too far down the road. I know that he's 31 and injuries have been an issue, but if it's going to be like it was this year, where he misses half a game here and there, and you can put a rookie in the mix that can take over, that can develop behind him, I would love to buy into another year of Aaron Jones. Put a rookie behind him. Have that guy compete with like Ty Chandler for the running back 2 spot. Maybe bring back Cam Akers into the mix if you want. But I'm just going to go with the status quo.
Yeah, I can't wait to see, because Sam said he put a lot of time into this. I'm looking at the list, like top 10 guys right now. Got to have this guy. And that makes me lean into what Luke said. Maybe you just bring back Aaron Jones, draft a guy in day 2 or 3, pending how many draft picks you end up with, or even plan C, like you just mentioned. I'm sure you could get another dirt cheap 1-year deal with Cam Akers too. I mean, that's always on the table, it feels like. I'm sure he'd love to spend another year playing with KOC. So not like a super strong market, just the names I'm looking at, but I always got a soft spot for Kareem Hunt. Sam, you remember back in 2017, I'm sure, publishing some of my top 5 running back power ranking articles for the draft. I loved him coming out of Toledo. Got to talk to him down in Mobile at the Senior Bowl week, got to watch him all week, and I've never really been too surprised by his success. It feels like he's been in the league for a decade plus. He's 29 years old, and plus, he was connected to the Vikings rumor mill. I think it was 2 summers ago when, the Vikings were talking about Dalton Reisner as well near the end of August. I think that was after training camp and all that. So Kareem Hunt, if you've watched the Chiefs all year, still got some tread left on the tires, still highly effective, can stay on the field for all 3 downs, which is nice. But my plan A, I'm with Luke. I would run it back with Aaron Jones. Plan B, dipping your toes in this free agent pool, so to speak. Give me Kareem Hunt. Pair him with a rookie that you really like in the draft.
So Ron, these guys are pro Aaron Jones, and I too, if you're looking at a 1-year option, someone to put with a rookie, I think I like that as well. Kareem Hunt also would be cheap. So that might be an avenue. My guy, if you're looking for a solidified multi-year deal, no doubt is Rico Dowdle from the Cowboys, without question. If you look at his success rates running the football, very little mileage compared to someone like Najee Harris, who's on the market, who has just been beaten into the ground by the Steelers. Dowdle has kind of like Tony Pollard, right? When he was about to leave the Cowboys, like 1 year of consistently getting the football. He'll be helpful in the passing game, super consistent runner, like high first down rate. Big Rico Dowdle fan if you wanted the multi-year option. Where would you stand, Ron, Aaron Jones, rookie, Dowdle, anyone else? Where do you land?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the names, it's tough. I mean, I do like the Aaron Jones bit. I mean, but he'll be 31 next year, so just getting a little bit longer in the tooth. But I think, of the numbers, he has the highest. I mean, $7 million was his number compared to these other guys is around $3 million. But again, Aaron Jones older than all the other guys you guys named. Like AJ Dillon, I don't know, what is his status. Like, is he like healthy to come back next year? I know he didn't play this year, but I don't know. Like,
1 year prove it deal on Dillon. If you want a short yardage guy, former
that's
Packer.
very Quasey. Get the guy coming off an injury that nobody knows anything about. Get him for 10 cents and
right. And that's the only thing I remember when he was healthy with Aaron Jones. He was good. He was effective. And but maybe a 2 guy. And maybe you can get Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. Maybe you end up just getting both Packers running backs to play behind them. Because coming off an injury with a running back, that's tough. I mean, anybody coming off an injury, look at Kirk Cousins. But the AJ Dillon, I feel like you can get for super cheap as a backup to be behind like an Aaron Jones. I do like the Aaron Jones bit because we saw how good he could be. We saw how effective he could be, and he knows his offense. Doesn't rock the boat. Doesn't seem like he's disgruntled about anything. My only question is there a bigger market for him out there? Because I know there was another NFL article about like the top 6 running backs and like projections of where they would go in 2025, and it had Aaron Jones going to the Raiders. It has Najee Harris going to the Broncos. It has Devontae Williams going to the Bears. It has J.K. Dobbins staying with the Chargers, and then it has Rico Dowdle going to the Browns, and so and then Kareem Hunt staying with the Chiefs. And so when you look at that, or going to the Chiefs, I think he's with the Browns, right? Kareem Hunt.
The Chiefs. He's with the Chiefs.
He's with the Chiefs. Yeah, so they have him going back to the Chiefs. So that's kind of what they project. Okay, this is just an article on NFL.com, but when you look at that thought of Aaron Jones to the Raiders, maybe it is of service to go get him for maybe another 1 or 2 year deal. The problem is a guy like Aaron Jones is probably also saying, "Look, I'm 31. I got to get at least 2 or 3 years locked in so that I can finish my career out," because, as running backs get up in this age, like Jerome Bettis, Eddie George, like all these guys retired at around 30. And so running backs aren't built to go to 35, 36, 37 years old like quarterbacks are, even like offensive tackles, some offensive tackles have done. But I do like the Aaron Jones bit. I just wonder, like, what is he asking for? But the A.J. Dillon is enticing because coming off injury, nobody's going to really offer him big money. It's going to be like, what are you, like, how is your rehab? Because, is he Adrian Peterson? Does he come back super strong and on steroids, or does he, is he a shell of himself? And that's the key, because he is a bruiser, short down back. How does he feel coming off, of injury?
If you want to run the ball in the red zone, A.J. Dillon's very interesting.
And that's where the Vikings struggle, running the ball in the red zone.
Ron, I want to ask you this. Now that the head coach is extended, goes into the offseason happy now, he's got his wishes. As he reflects on the season and looks himself in the mirror, looks his scheme in the mirror, his own, coaching tactics, like what lesson do you hope he took away from this season and can institute going forward?
Sorry, say it again.
Yeah, Kevin O'Connell, when he reflects on the season, what do you hope he learned that can make the Vikings a better playoff team going into the future?
Honestly, I got to go with the quarterback. I hope that he learned that never trust that his quarterback knows everything. Never feel like, no matter how good he's doing, that I don't need to treat him like a first grader and go over the numbers again with him, go over the counts with him again, give him some help in the headset. Because it is, like with Josh Dobbs, he knew he had to do it, and he talked about that, how much information he was trying to say to Josh Dobbs. Also, we know we can't come to the line of scrimmage every time with 12 seconds because you don't give your quarterback time to do anything. But I hope there becomes like a, hey, like we're 7-2. This could be the start of next season. We're 7-2. But hey, week 10, I still got to go into this, like week 11. I got to remind you, hey, if it's 4 guys, to the left, 7 to the right, even if you feel like there might be a stunt where they're going to try to overload the 4-man side, just run it left quick, have your, like all that little stuff just to help them out. Because I think some of the chess move stuff, the quarterbacks maybe overthought it. Some of the red zone stuff, it felt like they were forcing the ball into guys. And then some of the red zone stuff, like maybe just keep it simple. I know a lot of times it's like, let's run this play and wheel and go and, delay wheel, and it worked. But then sometimes like, look, I got weapons. Let me just line my weapons up and play. And I hope TJ Hawkinson, a year away from an injury, full year away from an injury, comes back even stronger and better. Because I feel like that was missing this season. Like you didn't see much tight end usage out of him. And I think that hurt it. But I'd say I hope Kevin O'Connell learned that. Like when you're getting out coached, just simplify the offense.
Ron, we're going to start talking draft prospects and Vikings needs and all that for the next few months. Playing in the league like you did, is there a position or two you think is just much easier to transition into the NFL if you know you're a team or a front office valuing more instant success, like we're ready to win now, versus a position that is maybe a lot more taxing mentally and physically going from college to the pros? Like I think about tight end. I know Brock Bowers had an unbelievable rookie year. This year, Sam Laporta had a great rookie year. Last year, that's fun. But in general, I feel like tight ends tend to take a couple years extra or longer, I guess, compared to other positions to kind of develop. So what positions did you see, I guess, when you played or even now that you feel like are an easier transition from college to the pros?
I don't think there's any easy position. I don't. I think every single position has different, like, and it's getting harder because technology is getting bigger and better and guys are learning more stuff. I'd say punter and kicker. Like those are the two positions I feel like, you know, if you're a great punter in college, you can come to the NFL and kick the crap out the ball. If you're a great kicker in college, Will Riker, you can come to the NFL and kick the crap out the ball. We're not asking you to do anything. We're not asking you to tackle, throw the ball. I don't really think there's any position. I will say passing tight ends maybe versus blocking tight ends seem to transition a little bit better because offenses like linebackers, it's tougher on the defense to figure out how to cover a guy like a Brock Bowers who lines up, 3 yards from in the line of scrimmage, who lines up out wide, who can run middle seams, who can run, deep corner routes from a tight end position, who can run deep post routes from a tight end position. Like that's tough on the defense because it's like, okay, if I put a little corner on him, he's going to body him up. And if I put a big linebacker on him, he's going to run by him. So I want to say tight end. After that, the next one, I'd probably say running back, because again, you're just running straight. If you're a legit running back in college, you can probably just do the same things you do in the league. Receivers tougher because the coverage has changed. DBs get better. There's a lot of disguise. Quarterback is absolutely hard because everything speeds up for you. Offensive line, you're going against grown men. I think offensive tackles too seem to do pretty well. If you're like an elite offensive tackle in college, they seem to transition. And we had Randall McDaniel on my show, and he talked about that. He said guards, he felt like was one of the hardest because of all the extra stuff they're asking them to do with the interior. So I would start there. Tight end, running back, I'd say offensive tackle seems to be a plug and play in the NFL as of late.
When I did Lockdown Vikings with Sage Rosenfels way back in the day before Braun took over and did a much better job.
I was an everydayer back in those days. I listened to every show.
That's amazing. Sage had a rule of thumb where he said, like, as the ball is sitting on the line of scrimmage, the closer you are to the ball, that position is harder to adjust to. So that would be like interior line, going over then to like edge and like outside offensive line, quarterback, obviously. Then you get to tight end, and then receivers like way far away from the ball. Running back is kind of far away from the ball. Those guys have an easier transition, like safety. Like that was Sage's theory. The closer you are to the ball, the harder it is to adapt to the NFL. That was Sage
I'd say so. The only thing I would take out of that is receiver cornerback. I don't think that's easy. He's a quarterback, so I wouldn't expect him to understand that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Receiver, like cornerback is extremely hard. I mean, look at how many first round corners don't make it. And I think that gives you an idea of that. Think how many first round receivers don't become like Amara St. Brown has a notebook full of receivers that aren't better than him that were taken earlier than him. Like it's not easy there, but I'd say yes, the guard to tackle to tight end. 100% agree with that because that's the same thing Randall McDaniel told us. Same thing with I would say opposite though. I would say defensive tackles have a better opportunity than, and maybe just talking offense. I'd say defensive tackles are better than linebackers. Like linebacker is one of the hardest positions, especially Mike linebacker. Like think about Cashman compared to Ivan Pace. And when Ivan Pace had to get the green dot, I'd say the defensive tackles like Lodi Nada, for instance, shout out to Lodi Nada going to the Hall of Fame, Baltimore Raven. Like, he came in right away and wrecked shop. I played with Anthony Weaver. He came right in and wrecked shop as a 3-tech. There's some people that just like they come in and they dominate. I'd say on defense, it's the opposite. I think the further away you're from the ball it gets a little bit tougher because you're on an island. Like, Antoine Winfield. I mean, imagine if we had drafted Antoine Winfield instead of Jeff Gladney. But I'm not going to go there. But man,
Braun, what do you got?
Ron, I want to hear your picks for this Sunday. Eagles, Commanders, Chiefs, Bills. What do you got?
I got the Jets. Give me the Jets. I think the Jets in the 9-point game. They're going to find a way. Aaron Rodgers has already said he's got a plan for this. He's going to put ayahuasca in everybody's locker.
Yeah,
that's what was
right.
supposed
If Roger
to
Goodell
happen.
has courage, the Jets can play. Yeah,
People had that picked, man, before the season started. That was people's pick.
people thought he was.
People
he's
even put
healthy
them
now.
back in the playoffs after they the playoff numbers for them to make the playoffs went up when he got Devontae Adams. Like people assumed they were about to run the table and end up with like a 6 or 7 seed. Yeah, no, they weren't even
2016
close.
Packers
But
from 4-6 to the NFC Championship game.
I'd say like this week, it's so hard to pick against the Chiefs. Like the more I want to hate them, the harder it is. But I'm gonna go. I just want to be on the outside. I want to go Commanders and I want to go Bills. Like I want to see something different.
Okay.
Like I'm so sick of the Chiefs, and I mean I like so the one thing
Honorable
I
Super
do
Bowl.
want. I want Saquon to get there though because I want the Giants to really feel the burn. Like I want
think they feel it.
Saquon to
I
get
think
there.
they feel
it.
And if it is Chiefs Eagles, I want the Eagles to win. Like I don't want to see Pat Mahomes again. I mean, I get it. I like him, but I want to see Saquon get a ring because if he gets a ring and like Daniel Jones and
right
his
away.
teammates, right away next
It's
season,
like Matt Stafford.
rushing leader, and his teammates are there because his teammates are going to be there. Like they're going to be in his suite for the Super Bowl, and all his Giants teammates are there. Like that ownership group has to say, you know what, all you guys are fired, every single one of you. Like I want to see like a scene. I don't know what movie it is, but just go through and just fire everybody on some Severance type stuff. Like just go cut the chips out their brains and get them out the office. Like you're done.
That's hilarious.
It's gonna be the only way you get somebody to be willing to work for the Giants. Soon.
Correct. The Giants would be a perfect opportunity to say, hey, we will sever your ties with the world. Would you come work in our front office? I think that would be the best.
That's the second Severance reference of the week from Ron. Have you finished season 1 yet?
I finished season 1. I have watched
Good.
the first episode of season 2. Is it going to be weekly? Is that how they load these up?
Yep. So
Okay.
I think it's either late tonight or in the morning.
I'm not watching it. I'm going to wait for I got to wait. I told my wife, I'm like, we should wait till we get to Mexico, which gives us a month. Wait to the end of our trip in Mexico, which gives us a month to then let like at least 4 to 5 episodes load up. Because I'm like annoyed because I want to see what happens next. And like it finally got fast and good. And then, yeah. But no, I finally saw it all. I'm not going to ruin it for those that haven't seen the rest of it yet. So
yeah, I told Sam I watched the first 2 episodes. I wasn't paying attention
slow.
enough. I got
It's so
confused and it was slow and I gave up. But
slow.
Sam talked me into it. I'm gonna try to restart it. I'm still trying to get Sam on Traders though.
We
You guys
watched
should
it
watch
all
Traders.
on the snow day, like the weekend, this past weekend plus the snow days. Me and my wife just stayed in the room and watched it, and the kids had like play dates. So it's slow. Like I had to rewatch like 2 episodes because I like missed so much stuff. But it's so slow. It speeds up. Like I mean, honestly, Luke, I hate to say
it must be. It
7
must
and
really,
like 6, 7, and 8. It
Yeah.
starts to speed up, and so
All
I won't
comes
ruin it
together.
for you because when I saw what was
it's
going
about
on,
atmosphere.
I was like, "Whoa, okay, this Egan family is nuts."
These guys.
We're not talking about the TCO Performance Center here. We're talking about a different Egan.
Different
not
Egan
not
family.
the
Yes,
suburb.
different.
Not the
is
suburb.
it based off Egan? No, completely different.
Yeah.
Completely
Adrian
different.
Peterson just comes walking by.
Yeah, no, it's a lot easier to
I
leave.
just had my knee scoped.
All you have to
easier
do
to
is
leave.
say the word schism to Judd Zulgad.
Speaking
and
of
you can get
movie,
out.
have you seen
Unlike-
Love Hurts previews with Beast Mode as an actor now?
No.
Yeah,
no.
Love Hurts with, I forgot the actors in it, but yeah, Marshawn Lynch is a karate bad guy.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. So
He was
they-
in Westworld toward the end of their run. That was
Marshawn Lynch?
Yeah, Marshawn Lynch. Is
I
in-
love everything Marshawn
What?
Lynch, so I'll watch that.
I did not know that.
I might just
Yeah.
watch
Yeah,
that.
Love Hurts. He's like fighting somebody. Like gets into like a fight with somebody in this one, like a martial arts.
He's got some chops. He's got some acting chops. And so does Ron Johnson as well. I think I'm waiting for you to pop up in like a cameo for some kind of TV production.
I just
feel like that-
want to be in like
Yeah.
the remake when like they find out what happened with like Joy Taylor and Emmanuel Acho and all this stuff and Ryan Clark against Marcellus Wiley. I just want to play somebody in one of the movies when they remake this. Because this is going to be a story. Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp, when that finally comes out.
Who's going to play Skip?
Put me in, coach.
I don't know, but that like I can't wait to hear all the stuff because there's so much drama going on right now. Like, oh, it's hilarious.
At 3 Ron Johnson on Twitter/X, host of the Ron Johnson Show. Thanks a lot, Ron. We'll talk to you next week as we usually do.
Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. When we return, Luke Inman's draft prospect of the day starts. Brought to you today by FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, you have 3 NFL football games left to bet on in these NFL playoffs. If you're a new customer, this is the time to get in the action. I'm telling you, $5, get $300. Bet 5, get $300 in bonus bets if you win that first bet. So you got to win the $5 bet, find a good money line, win that $5 bet, get $300 to spread around the NBA, NHL, college basketball, and yes, the Super Bowl coming up. It's an easy app to navigate, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. You can put together a same-game parlay with ease. You get paid instantly when you win, and you can also wager on the future. You can look ahead to next year's Super Bowl winner and get action on that at FanDuel.com today. Bet 5, get $300 in bonus bets. Make the playoff season unforgettable at FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. We need an intro for this, like a video intro. We don't have it yet. So it's Luke Inman's draft prospects of the day. Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, guys, are you ready? 91 days. 91 days until the NFL draft. We got some all-star games coming up starting this week. I think did somebody say Reese down at the Shrine Bowl? Maybe he texted us in the group chat. He's down at the Shrine Bowl.
He's traveling right now. That's why he's not here.
Got it. Okay, Senior Bowl coming up right after that. Then it's Combine, and then April 25th will be here before you know it. So, draft season is here. My first prospect of the day, and I just want to say, given the Vikings' needs, rest assured, there was plenty of prospects to choose from. But I think I want to get this one out of the way because I can already tell he's going to be linked to the Vikings at pick 24 a lot during this process. It makes sense. It's an obvious position of need. Back into the defense. You know, the hope is they bring back somebody like Byron Murphy. But then what? Gilmore, Shaq Griffin, both probably gone. I think it's time to get Brian Flores some young blood to work with. Benjamin Morrison, Notre Dame.
I've seen this everywhere.
Have you really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Like every mock is either
really?
that or
Kuiper
inexplicably a tackle.
Kuiper got him?
Kuiper got him.
Kuiper
got him.
Okay.
Tyler Fournette got him.
He's copying you. You're not copying him. He's copying you.
Yeah. Well. To be honest, I mean, it's so early in the process. A lot of things are going to change. Obviously, Combine changes stuff. Sometimes too much stuff. To be honest, sometimes you just got to trust the tape. But Senior Bowl plays a huge factor. Stock up, stock down. But it does make sense right now on January 23rd, just on paper, especially for what Brian Flores likes to do. I already can't wait to see this guy measuring at his pro day and Combine because I've seen him listed anywhere from 6 foot even to 6'4", and I mean, first of all, that just doesn't even make any sense. How could one website have him at 6 foot, the other at 6'4"? But honestly, if he was just somewhere right in between that, right in the middle, 6'2", even 6'1", I think you'd take that all day because he is an ideal match for Flores just to have another young body he can trust, leave out on an island on his own eventually, probably not week one like a lot of these guys. But if you're talking just pure man cover skills, he's probably in that top 3, if not top 2 discussion in the entire class. But by the time this is all said and done, I think about Travis Hunter, Will Johnson, Michigan, and then Morrison's right there, right behind those. Those 3 kind of feel like right now they're kind of all in their own tier, I guess, at the top of that group. If you watched any college ball this year, you know Notre Dame, they're filled with a lot of NFL talent, but Morrison's probably the best of the bunch. He's probably going to be the highest drafted out of all of them. Came in as a freshman, led the conference with 6 interceptions, 6 picks as a freshman. Follows that up as a sophomore, ends up leading the conference with 10 pass breakups. Deals with a hip injury this year, only plays 6 games, so the numbers obviously went down. But even in those 6 games, guys, he was Mr. Lockdown again, and it really didn't get a ton of passes thrown his way because the word was kind of out. So, again, overall, great athlete, smooth, great change of direction, all that stuff, but he's a ball hawk. I mean, he just gets his hands on the ball, 9 career picks, 18 career pass breakups. I think he's got the makeup of a true cornerback number one in the league. That you could probably line up not only on the boundary, but probably on the inside as well. Technique, sloppy like a lot of guys, not the cleanest always, but that's okay. That stuff's fixable. That stuff's correctable. It's teachable at the next level. The other stuff is not. So I just love the idea of not just getting younger at cornerback for the Vikes, but adding some high level, high ceiling talent, I think, into that group too. And you used a lot of ammo last year to go get a pass rusher. Now you got 3 good pass rushers, Grenard, Van Ginkel, Dallas Turner. We'll talk D-tackle. We'll talk O-line all offseason, which again, there's going to be some good options at both positions sitting there at 24, just by the way it looks as of now. But I like the idea, I think, starting this series off with one of the better kind of press man cover corners of the class with Benjamin Morrison, Fighting Irish. They just need some warm bodies, guys. No two ways about it. O-line, I think, Luke, you brought this up. You brought up a good point. O-line, whether they like it or not, whether we like it or not, they could still run it back with guys like Bradbury.
Yeah, they're not changing as much as you want them to.
Yeah.
And they never do. Everybody wants them to switch out 3 or 4 positions every single year. That's not how.
Right.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah. I mean, Phillips, Bullard, Redmond, Tillery, that could be your starting D-line next year, at D-tackle, I should say. But when I think it comes to corner, even if they brought back Murphy, which I hope they do, even if they brought back Shaq Griffin or Gilmore as well, which I don't think, but let's just say they do, you still want to have 3 good cover corners in this league nowadays. And you want to have good depth behind them, too. Guys always go down. They get hurt. So they're just so thirsty to get younger at that position, maybe more than any other position. They need youth. They need talent. I think it makes a lot of sense. How fitting would it be whether Harrison Smith retires or decides to come back for one more year, replacing him with one more Notre Dame guy. Secondary.
Yeah, in the secondary. I would be interested to see how free agency plays out with that too, because it's a good corner class of free agents. There's some fun names out there: DJ Reed and Travarius Ward, Mike Hilton, like even the second tier names. I
like
really
all
fun.
those guys. Yes, I like.
So
all those guys
if you're willing to spend, and to be honest, that's the only expensive need that they have. So if they want to go out and spend and kind of purchase a secondary again, but do it more seriously than just bringing in Stephon Gilmore in an emergency after Mekhi Blackman gets hurt.
That would change things for sure. That would change things going into the draft. Absolutely.
Safe to say that if Benjamin Morrison doesn't injure his hip this year, like if he had been showcased in the college football playoff for 4 games and played at the level that he had the previous 2 years, we might be talking about him as a top 10 pick. Safe to say that he's in the Vikings crosshairs because of the injury, most likely. That's how I'm interpreting it. Now check out this stat from 2022, his freshman year. These are the passer ratings against top cornerbacks in the country. So number 1 is something called Camby Goff, who I checked. He's like a 5-year guy from Air Force. He might be a draft prospect as well, but he had the lowest passer rating against of any corner in 2022. Then the next 3, Devin Witherspoon, Benjamin Morrison, Quinyon Mitchell.
Pretty good group to be in. Yeah, 6 picks as a freshman. I don't know, picks, box score numbers definitely does not tell the whole story. But I remember Mike Zimmer, the DB cornerback guru. He said, I want guys who can get their hands on the ball, that are just always around the ball. That's what sold me on Jeff Gladney so much, because he led the country that year coming out in pass deflections. But yeah, he's got a great resume. And again, I know he only played 6 games this year, got the hip injury. By the way, Will Johnson, who a lot of people got pegged just a little bit ahead of him, he only played 6 games this year at Michigan as well. So 2 kind of names that are going to have to answer some injury questions, I guess. Hip, I would be a little bit more concerned with compared to Will Johnson's injury. But 6 games he did play in this year, he didn't, the word was out, like I said, he didn't get a lot of pass attempts thrown his way because people just, quarterbacks, offensive coordinators, whoever it may be, just didn't want to target him because he had such a good pedigree coming into the season already.
All right, we got to get to our parlays before the show is done. Again, this was
before we
the
get
contest.
To parlays. Can I address a question in the chat from Iro? Who asked, what do I mean by when I don't like it that people mock draft a tackle? Obviously, the tackle is going to be moved inside to guard. They aren't saying that, man. They're just saying they need a tackle. It's ridiculous. It's everywhere. They're like, yeah, they need some help on the O-line. He's going to shore up. He's going to anchor the blind side. Like,
Did
it's
people
insane.
forget we have Darisaw? Is the national
Yes.
people
just
forget?
have absolutely
They're
forgotten
like-
that Christian Darisaw. They barely knew Christian Darisaw was a person in the first place
Yeah.
if you didn't follow the Vikings. It was insane.
Yeah.
But yes, it's unreal to me. But also drafting a tackle, which is more expensive than drafting a guard, than moving him inside to guard, potentially ruining him, is an idiotic thing that the Vikings have failed at like 12 times in the last 10 years. Can we stop doing that? It sucks. Just draft a guard if you want a guard. Yeah, I'm salty. National media doesn't pay attention to the Vikings. All they want to do is talk about whatever crackpot trade rumor Mike Florio made up.
Remember earlier in the show when for about 2 minutes we thought that the franchise tag was not possible, and
Yeah,
then we
that was
realized
fun.
it was.
That was fun.
That was a good
Are you going to clip that out? Oh, we're live.
Yeah.
Luke Braun's finest moment.
Yeah. Live research, baby.
Yeah, I love it.
We just did it on I just learned all about Benjamin Morrison in that same amount of time.
I'm kind of PO. I mean, hey, I got a picture of Mel Kiper back here, okay? The Godfather, my real Godfather, okay? But I'm kind of bummed he stole my pick, Benjamin Morrison. I haven't looked at a Kiper mock yet this year. I don't have the ESPN Insider Plus login, so I'm kind of out.
You got to bundle it. Bundle it with Disney and Hulu. That's the way to go.
Yeah.
We got parlays. We are all 0 for 2. Everybody's 0 for 2. The loser has to front our Super Bowl bet. So somebody's got to win this week. There are no regulations. There's no minimum odds. There's no minimum legs. It's just so it's going to be strategic this week. Arif, because he's not here, he did send me his parlay. I'm going to reveal his first because when you're not here, you don't get the advantage. So I'm revealing Arif's right away. Terry McLaurin, 40-plus yards. Barkley, 80-plus yards. Daniels, 200-plus yards. Kelsey, 40-plus yards. Allen, 200-plus yards. I'll have to run the numbers on this to see if it's changed. He had it at plus 277. Plus 277. We will go in reverse order again of our regular season betting contest. That would go Inman, me, and then Braun.
Okay. All right. I'm just going to try to get on the board here, obviously, like everybody. So I'm going to try to keep this as simple as possible here. Love Diami Brown. Diami Brown, over 3.5. Brian Robinson, over 9.5 rushing attempts, which hit last week. And DeAndre Hopkins, longest catch, over 12.5. So I'm just going to go with a 3-leg here. Hope I can get on the board. Hope that at least puts me in the mix, I feel like. So don't have to front this whatever number or dollar amount we're going with for the Super Bowl bet. But let me punch that in. You guys can keep going ahead. I'll give you the final numbers here in just 1 second.
And that was Diami Brown receptions.
Over 3.5 receptions. Yes. Correct.
Robinson, 9.5 rushing attempts.
Correct.
DeAndre Hopkins, longest over 12.5. And he got shut out against the Texans, and that killed Braun's parlay, right? Pretty sure.
I think that killed the one
life.
the real life one. Yep.
Yeah.
Which was funny because it happened first, and then I hit all of the 4 other legs after it didn't matter.
Yeah. Classic. By the way, Inman, congrats. He had a 5-leg real life parlay.
Teaser.
Over the weekend.
Teaser.
Teaser.
You're getting 7 points, man.
An adjusted parlay.
I'll take it.
An adjusted parlay.
That works.
Thank you.
That works.
Yep.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
All right.
Professional. We're professionals here, guys. We're professionals.
Sure.
Keep in mind, folks, Luke Inman tripled his money this year by the
that's true.
scientific process. His algorithm told him Vikings 1 to 6 points.
The writing was on the wall, guys. Come on. Anybody could have done it. Every week I was waiting for one of you guys to take it. Nobody wanted it.
That was our mistake.
All
I will
right.
take.
It's mine. If you want to.
Sorry, I thought you'd already gone.
Yeah, and I think I would kind of like to get Inman's odds before I reveal mine.
Yeah, I'm trying to find
as a strategy component.
Attempts here. Oh, here we
Okay.
go. Player rushing attempts. Brian Robinson, 9.5. And now I just got to switch over to Chiefs game and plug in this DeAndre Hopkins. Now, I will say, before I even find this Hopkins one, this should work as a 3-leg parlay in FanDuel. Now, last week when I tried to do a couple of these, they didn't work for some reason. So they were not same-game parlays. So Don't be surprised if either I A, make you wait a little bit longer, or B, have to scrap this and pick a whole parlay, a new parlay again.
Totally. We'll be patient. I'll start revealing my legs here.
Yeah, some of your selections can't be combined into a single parlay. Okay.
Cool.
Oh,
I can go too in the interest of keeping the show going.
All right.
Yeah,
which
please.
You might like,
please.
Sam. I'm giving you information. I'll give you my odds.
Well, I'm ready, so I can go
Okay,
and
go
keep us on track. So I've got Jalen Hurts 150 plus. I've got low thresholds. Jalen Hurts 150 plus. AJ Brown 25 plus yards. Brian Robinson 25 plus yards. Comes out at a nice plus 104, double the money. 3 legs plus 104. That's where I'm going with.
I am also being very conservative. Only 2 legs. Saquon Barkley, anytime touchdown scorer. And Josh Allen, 40-plus rushing yards. 1 in each game. Give me a plus 113. Just trying to get on the... We're all just trying to get on the board.
That is a giant development, though. I don't think you meant to do it, but plus 113 means that if we both win, you win. You got 9.
I did not mean... I had this before the show, so...
You got, yeah, and so
I'm just
did
trying
I.
to hit one.
You got 9 points on me. Why don't you hit refresh? Make sure that didn't go down, Braun. Make sure that didn't go to like a plus 1.
Oh, it would tell me.
That's a very good point. It would. All right, so Inman.
All right, here you go. You ready? DeAndre
Yeah,
Hopkins, over 13.5, longest reception. Curtis Samuel had a big game last week, over 14.5 receiving yards. Zach Ertz had to swap out Brown for Ertz, over 3.5 receptions. So same bet, different players. Zach Ertz, 3-leg parlay. That's plus 483. 483.
483. That means that if everybody wins, Inman wins. Inman beats anybody if he hits. And I was the most conservative. I need y'all to lose. I need y'all to lose. Braun, you are bested by Arif and Inman in terms of odds. But again, Arif going with 5 legs. Something's going to screw that up. That's a lot of legs to hit.
But he went low, right? He went like Travis Kelce instead of 68 yards. He went 40.
Went low thresholds, but again,
it just takes one though. Yeah,
Jaden Daniels 200 yards, that could easily be upended. I think Josh Allen 200 yards could be upended. On any given day, that they could have an off one. Barkley 80 yards. It feels like it's a done deal, right? It's not. I mean, any day
there's this world where the Commanders walk into this game with one primary goal, and it's to stop Saquon Barkley, and Jalen Hurts puts up $500 on him, but they stop Saquon Barkley.
Yep.
And then everyone's parlays lose.
Yep.
Yeah, or stopping Travis Kelce, right? He's got Kelce 40-plus yards, and I know he's got the 14-game streak. That
also, too, just the more players you do, especially late cold weather games, late in the season, guy
one
gets
twisted
dinged
ankle
up.
and you're
Yeah,
cooked.
guy gets dinged up. Now I got 5 guys I got to worry about. It's a lot. It's a lot. So
That happened to me with a season-long one with Jordan Love that I would have hit if Jordan Love didn't.
Kirk
he was
Cousins.
on pace.
Yeah.
I
I
got every other
2
leg.
years ago. I had Cousins 2 years ago. MVP season going on, and that'll happen.
PCs.
If nobody wins, I guess we'll just have to share the bet to go in it together.
Oh yeah,
Seems good.
I think that for a Super Bowl bet, we should try to put a parlay together to win what, $100,000 or $1 million?
dude,
putting together
the
a ridiculous
parlay
one
with $20. Is that what we have? $20 bill, $20. Is that what we're doing?
Sure.
10 $10 a pop. 40
or
maybe?
10 a pop for 40. So a $40 parlay.
Why not just 20 a pop? 80.
Win $1 million.
Wait a minute. Let's just
Why not? Put
gonna say, with
over-unders on
$20,
12 different players and then
Super Bowl
pick the
only
coin
happens
flip
once
in the
a year.
Gatorade color.
yeah, we'll go uncut gems on the bit. All right, we got to get the tip off. We got to get the coin toss just to start. Right, the 6-legger, the KG,
and then the Gatorade at the end.
Yeah,
Gatorade
I used
at
to
the end.
love doing that. Now I hate it because I've never won. I think it's
it's
rigged.
hard.
It's hard.
Yeah. Minnesota Football Party on Locked On Sports Minnesota. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting, watching, listening, all the things that you do to make this show possible and entertaining. Good stuff in the chat. We are going to get to all of your draft crushes, your draft suggestions, Inman's prospect of the day. We're going to explore these free agency classes. We're going to keep this lively here in the Minnesota Football Party for the next few months. Arif Hassan should join us again next week and maybe give a Shrine Bowl report. He'll have a prospect of the day next week. Thanks a lot for watching. It's the Minnesota Football Party.